there, moguls. It's me, Marshall Sylver, your personal millionaire maker. Getting very excited about my brand new show. 2 hours a day, 5 days a week. I'm going to broadcast live to you. In the first hour of the broadcast, I'm going to give you content, information for better sex, more money, emotional, mental, physical, and even spiritual power. I'll also invite some of my cool multi-millionaire and billionaire friends onto the show to give you more direction, more advice, more strategies and gambits for having it all. The second hour is what I'm most excited about. It's when I get a chance to chat with you. Yes, you. Where you can call in, talk to me, ask me questions. And if you say the secret word of the day, you could win $5,000 cash. At the very least, if you're the most interesting call of the day, you could also win 10 ounces of freshly minted Marshall Sylver 999 Fine Silver. All of that and more. Brand new Mercedes-Benz sedan or SUV up for grabs. My personal Rolls-Royce Phantom up for grabs. All the knowledge to get everything you want and so much more. All you got to do is log in to the show to get information about its release coming up. 2 hours a day, 5 days a week, coming to you live from the bunker right here at Studio Money. I'm Marshall Sylver, your personal millionaire maker.
Let me bring in our hypnotist, Marshall Sylver.
It's Marshall Sylver, ladies and gentlemen, the world's fastest hypnotist.
Oh, there we go. Hello there. Welcome on this glorious day filled with love, health, opportunity, and potential. I am Marshall Sylver. You are totally loved. And it is a glorious day. It's a glorious day because as I was showing you while I was muted, $8,000 is up for grabs. My bad. Doesn't matter. Got to deal with what emerges. How do you get the 8,000? Don't be upset about the fact that it was muted for a moment. And I did give you the clue while it was muted, by the way. Don't be upset about it because I'm going to give you more clues as to what the secret word of the day is so that when you call in and you say the secret word, guess what? You can win $8,000 on 4-4. My little sister's birthday. Happy birthday, Stacy. I was in the spa this morning early, getting a soak in for my knees and watching the ocean, and it looked beautiful. It looked amazing. And I'm reminded how blessed our lives are. I also want to share with you before we bring our guest on today, and I've got a phenomenal guest. I love this guy. He's done brilliant things. He's very creative, making a boatload of money, loves his wife, everything I appreciate in another human being. At any rate, watched the movie last night. And it's a movie. I have no idea how I stumbled across it. The movie is called Movie 43. Movie 43. And I have never in my life seen a more bizarre movie ever. So it was put out in 2013. I have no idea how I missed it because it has more stars in one movie than I've seen in a long time. In fact, when I was looking down the cast, I went, holy cow, look at all the people that are in the movie. Then when I watched the movie, I was even more boggled of how it had so many stars in it because it is flat out bizarre. It's a comedy, and it had a lot of people that we like in it. So I told all my kids, yeah, let's come watch the movie together. And we started watching the movie. And to put it in perspective, one of the first scenes has Hugh Jackman, which we love very much from World's Greatest Showman, obviously all of the X-Men movies. We love Hugh Jackman. The movie had Hugh Jackman in it, but he had a pair of, how do I say this, huevos on his neck. and nobody seemed to notice except for the woman, Kate Winslet, that he was on a blind date with. It was bizarre. At any rate, check out the movie. My point in all of this is you never know what's gonna work and what's not going to work unless you throw noodles at the wall. You got to throw noodles at the wall. Today we've got a guest who is part of the ultimate sales team. Jack Duval is a part of the high stakes world of phone sales. And on this episode, Jack and I are going to uncover how Jack has cracked the code on what it takes to succeed in the competitive arena of sales. You know, I love salespeople. With a keen eye for talent and understanding the psychology of sales, Jack's built sales teams that consistently outperform and exceed targets for niches and verticals across the board. Today, he's going to reveal how to craft the perfect sales team, how to convert those sales calls into lucrative deals. So whether you're managing a sales team or working in sales yourself, you got to take a look at the dynamics of a successful telesales operations. And Jack is the person that can provide those valuable lessons and insights today. Nice, big Marshall Sylver. Welcome to Jack Duval. Welcome home, Jack.
Marshall.
So great
Happy
to
to be
chat
here.
with you again. How's life?
Good to see you again. It's excellent, brother. It's excellent. We're just rocking and rolling over here. How about you?
We're always awesome. Last we chatted, you were in Arizona. Are you still
in Arizona?
Phoenix?
Still in Arizona. Yeah, out here in Gilbert.
You've been traveling around a bit. I've seen some of your posts. You've been having some fun with the bride.
Absolutely.
For folks that do not know you, obviously I gave you a brief introduction. Could you please tell us a little more about yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. So my name's Jack Duval. I'm a managing partner at phonesales.com. We sell offers typically across, financial services and investment type offers, but we'll do coaching, consulting, professional services, and we build sales teams. We do done for you sales teams for people. We help scale high ticket offers, the whole 9 yards. So basically anyone who has a high ticket offer online, specifically services, we help scale and make sales for your business.
And what kind of clients do you work with?
We work with clients typically a lot of in the automation space. So, Amazon automation, e-commerce automation, equity groups, things like that, and a lot of professional services as well.
And we have had a couple people on in similar businesses. You're working with a company called Phone Sales.
Yeah.
And they've been around for a while. I've chatted with the two owners of the company. Obviously, you and I have had conversations in the past. You guys have a very different approach to this whole process. So can you tell us, in the arena of sales agencies or agencies that provide salespeople to customers, what makes you guys different?
I would say what makes us different is that we're a growth partner on top of just being a sales team. What everyone else does is they'll typically just, oh, hey, here's a closer, here's a setter, here's this, right? But what we do is when we come in, we actually act as a growth partner for people. So whether we're just doing your sales or whether we're literally, funding your ad spend, doing your marketing for you and doing your sales for you and just bringing you paid clients, we're also helping you grow your business. And other people don't do that. That's just the thing that they don't do. They're like, that's not my wheelhouse, but that's not something that we stopped at. Because if you're focused on mastering something, in my opinion, right, and you have a weak link in what you're trying to master, I know people say focus on your strengths, but if your strength is that and you have a weakness in your strength, then we try to improve that, right? And so that's what we focus on, and that's what makes us different. Is not only do we help you solve all your sales problems, but we've also worked with all the people that are already succeeding, and we know what works, and we help you grow your business at the same time.
Well, that's certainly value added. So I did not know that about you guys. So
Yeah.
in some instances, obviously it's going to be a case by case basis. You guys will run the ads, pay for the ad spend, create those leads, close those leads into the opportunity.
Yeah, literally just bring people paid clients.
Wow.
It all depends on the person, right? Are you a acquisitionpreneur? Because that person doesn't want to do that. They want to spear lead the acquisition. Or are you a productpreneur, right? They want to focus on their business. They want to fulfill. They want to deliver the highest results, but it's just not really their wheelhouse to go out and, spin off creatives and run sales teams and do all that stuff.
You are a part of Phone Sales.
Correct.
And how does that relationship work? What is that? Obviously, there's two guys that own it. Are you a franchise? Are you a franchisee?
Yeah, so I franchised the business. So I actually came into phone sales just as a salesperson. And then when I realized what it was and I was presented with the opportunity, I franchised it immediately. Like the second it was offered to me, I franchised it.
So let's take a look at it because again, two points of view. We got a lot of people these days. You know, we're looking at numbers here in the United States, and anybody with half a brain knows that the employment numbers are through the floor. You got a lot of people out of work, a lot of people looking for opportunities, people struggling, people starving, people not able to feed their families or you know, pay for their rent. And yet, if you open up a newspaper in any major city across the country, if you do a search online in any city across the country for jobs, there's page after page after page after page for jobs that are for salespeople. The challenge with those are that they are performance based, commission only. And often people don't want to do that. Now, I tell people all the time, we want to do things that we do well. And the only way we do something well is by doing them poorly a lot. And you
Yeah.
got to get through that suck period before you step into the period. Because there was a pivotal moment for me in my sales career. I was working in Vegas. I was making about 120,000 a week doing my show 5 nights a week. And I got a gig. I got an offer to go over to China and make $500,000 in 1 week. I had vacation time coming. I went to the entertainment director at the hotel casino I was at in Vegas and said, I'm going to take my week off on these dates. And he said, oh, that's fine. You know, what are you going to do? Go vacation? I said, no, I'm going to China to make $500,000 in a week. And he said, how are you going to do that? I said, I'm speaking every day. They're paying me $500,000 for this 7-day period. He said, you're going to make $500,000 in a week? I said, yeah. He said, well, let me get back to you on that time off. He contacted me a week later and said, I'm sorry, the hotel doesn't want you taking the time off. And I said, that doesn't make any sense. I have the time off. It's a 4-wall. It's my show, my risk, my loss. They said, yeah, but if you leave, we're going to shut your show down. And so I'd already deposited the $500,000. I wasn't giving it back. And so I called their bluff. I went to China, made my money, came back. Sure enough, the showroom that I had paid to build out, they took from me. So now I'm unemployed. I get a call from a guy named Ron LeGrand. You may have come across his name. He's in the seminar space. And Ron asked me to come back to Atlanta and speak in front of 1,000 real estate investors. And I went back and I spoke on the stage for the first time ever, not getting a speaking fee, and made $400,000 in 90 minutes. Changed my whole life. And from that point forward, and I know the story's long, but from that point forward, I became a commission-only salesperson, meaning I am only compensated for what I sell. And to this day, that's my business. And to this day, I think that's the best possible model for everybody. I think everybody should be compensated based on their contribution. It would change the dynamics of everything, and it's extremely capitalistic. What are your thoughts, and how do you get somebody? Because clearly, that's a mental breakthrough that people have. How do you get people to understand the benefit of relying on their own talent and working for commission only?
Yeah, that's a great question, Marshall. I would say
Long-winded, except it's a big point.
yeah, I hear you though. It is a big point. I would say the biggest thing is if you don't believe in yourself and your capabilities, then what are we even doing here? I think that's really the big thing, because if you're not confident in yourself and you're just there for the check, you're just there for the, the speaking fee. I'm not saying you did this. I'm just using it as an example. If you're there for the speaking fee or you're there for the salary, right? And that's it. Then where's your motivation to go above and beyond? Where's your motivation to go that extra step, to go the extra mile? And I don't want those people around me. And the way that you ask me, how do I get people to buy into it? I don't. I look for the people who see things my way, or who, if I present them that perspective and they agree with me, then they're with it. Right. And that's the type of person that I want to attract. I don't want to work with those other people because they're just going to be there for the salary. They're just going to be there for that. And they're not going to go that extra mile. And I want people who are top performers, who are willing to give it all they have and who are willing to go above and beyond. That's the type of environment that we foster and that we want to have. So that's why we, only attract and only search for those types of people. Right. And at the end of the day, it's believing in yourself.
So I guess my question is a little deeper because, I made that pivotal moment when I made $400,000 in 90 minutes. And obviously my brain just said, well, heck, I would have charged them $25,000 at the time for this exact same talk. And I just made 400,000. There's no point in going back. Is that the breakthrough that people have to make? They've got to make a big chunk of cash through a commission only transaction. And then they go, holy crap, what was I thinking? It's kind of the premise, your first $1 million is the most difficult one to make. Once you know you do it again and again.
That's a good point. I understand now. So I would say two things. That is the first way it can happen, right? You experience that yourself. Or second is external validation in front of your eyes, right? You either do it yourself or, your buddy to the right of you just went in and knocked down a $50,000 commission right next to you, a $100,000 commission. And it's on the same thing you're doing, same opportunity. And then it comes down to, well, if he can do it, why can't I? And I'm sure you've seen it before. I'm sure before you got on that stage, you've known of people who've gone on and just crushed on the stage and sold a ton, right? You get on there and you're like, wow, like if it's possible, and then you do it, that's the next level, right? So I think seeing it first, seeing someone else do it is the first step, understanding it's possible. So for example, like what I'll have, a lot of my managers do is, show some of the new hires their checks and stuff. So that way they kind of can understand what they're getting into and what's possible. So they see the external validation, then they come on, they get their first check, boom. That's when it really happens. Their first big check anyways.
What do you think is, and I want to stay on salespeople, and then I want to start talking about your clients and help anybody that has a business that might want to use your services understand why they would want to use your services. What do you think is the sales process? I have a very specific framework that I believe goes into what I call the persuasion equation: gain rapport, elicit their outcome, give a directive, play with resistance, give the directive again. Do you have a formula that you kind of think this is how people go through this process of influence?
Yeah, absolutely.
What is that?
So I would say coming on and immediately breaking down walls, like you said, rapport. And then I would say gathering their situation. Where are they at? And then where do they want to go? What is the problems or the roadblocks? Like you said, resistance, play with it, figure out what the problems are, kind of play around in there, and then figure out, what do we need to do to get you there? And then help guide them there in a consultative way, in an authoritative way, like a doctor prescribing something to a patient type of way, because they're there with a problem. They're there to solve the problem. So if you're too scared to help them solve it, you should sell something else.
You've got a piece of art behind you called Starry Night, and it's Van Gogh.
Absolutely.
And obviously Van Gogh was a very troubled guy, a massively talented, troubled guy. My experience has been that people that are highly creative are often mentally challenged. There, I said it out loud. And again, present speaker included in this description. And the challenge is, and I'm sure you're probably like this too, which is why you would be attracted to somebody like Van Gogh's art. We think too much. We just think all the time, and our brain is just going and going and going and going. My experience has been that, number one, I don't want to cut off my ear. Number two, my experience has been that when I get out of my head and get into my life, meaning I get out of my head and run in all the conversations and I say, stop, take a breath, focus on what's in front of you, then everything gets better. And
Yeah.
I was having this conversation with somebody the other day about chess. And the reason I love chess so much is chess is a very equal game. There's not a lot of luck involved. And, there's a benefit involved in going first. That's useful. But there's not a lot of luck involved because, it's a move by move game. And so if somebody gets a slight advantage, you can get rid of the advantage very quickly. I have noticed, though, that sometimes people, when they think they're at a disadvantage, they lose their queen, as an example, that they often quit the game. They concede because they say, hey, you've got such an advantage over me, where I know if I lost my queen, I made a mistake and I'm a decent player. And I also know that if the other player is decent, they make mistakes too. And I think that is one of the biggest challenges that people don't realize is that, they say, oh yeah, they can do it, but I can't. Are there basic personality traits that you see right off the bat. You're 10 seconds, 30 seconds into a phone call with somebody, you go, yeah, they got it. And if there are, what would make somebody appear that way to you?
Good question. I would say discipline, number one, because you're going to want to quit. Everyone's going to want to quit.
So
Everyone's
is
going to
it
have those
discipline
moments.
just to make the freaking calls?
Discipline. You have to have the discipline to stick through. And it's not just to make the calls, but it's not to quit when shit gets hard. That's the key. It's not getting too high and not getting too low. I want someone who has, a positive mindset, but not like crazy, super optimistic, blind to reality. Someone who's real, but positive. Someone who has the discipline. And I also look for people who have a strong why, like something that matters. For example, I've worked with a lot of young kids that they don't have anything that's their why. They haven't developed that yet. But when I'm working with a father who's 40, who wants to make a difference for people and has a family and kids, wife, he can't not do it. Like it's just the why being there is super powerful. So I think all of those things together. And on top of that, I would say commitment to the vision. I think their goals, their vision has to align with what you're doing. Otherwise, they're not going to keep pushing. Like that's a step past the why,
I would agree. Yeah, again, case in point, I have ticked off everything on my bucket list. There's literally nothing else on my bucket list. And people say, get a bigger bucket list. And my response is, I'm very happy. But there's one thing that I still really, 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 really need to do. And that is set up my wife and my children beyond imagination, beyond anything that they could have ever thought, so that their entire lives, they say, Daddy, my husband, he took care of us forever. We never had to worry again because he was in our lives. I know you have a similar belief. I know how much you love your wife. Do you have kids?
Yeah, I have 2 kids, 2 boys.
So you get it.
I get it.
And again, if people don't have other people that they want to take care of, and it's not an obligation, I don't have to. I love my wife and I love my kids, and I want it. It's my greatest joy. And I was talking to my son this morning, and I said, do you want to take editing classes? Because he's into video production and he's learning it all on his own. He's 12 and he's really good. And I said, would you like to take video editing classes? He said, sure. I said, any classes you or your siblings want, anything you want, I'm down for. I'll pay for any kind of learning you want to do, because I think that that's what's most important. On the education side of things, what does phone sales do for people that want to become a salesperson inside of phone sales? What kind of training do you guys do?
Yeah. So for education that we don't do any external coaching or training to people not inside the organization, because we thought about that, but we just decided that, we want to work with top performers, and we're not like a sales development company. We're a sales agency where top performers come in and they work right off the bat. But what we do for those top performers are a top performer for a reason. They're addicted to growth. They want to get better. They've been committed to getting better. So we're giving those people a combination of one-on-one sales and personal development training, right? Because it's not just the tactics, the skill sets. It's up here. So personal development plus sales training. And we're also giving them that in a group setting as well. And they have systems when they come in, onboarding processes and whatnot.
What do your salespeople earn? What somebody comes, they say, hey, I want to be a part of the phone sales teams. You place them with one of your clients. They go to work for the client. What's their potential? What are they likely to earn as a salesperson for you guys?
Okay. So if they make it on the lowest offer that they're on, something lower ticket, they could make, if they're doing okay, maybe like 10,000. If you're crushing it, I've had guys making about 80,000 a month. So anywhere in that range. It all depends. Again, up to you. That guy making 80,000, there were other guys on the offer making 15, 20, 30, and he's making 80 because he was crushing.
And what kind of a percentage of commission is that they're making $80,000 on?
On that specific deal, they were making 7% because the tickets were so high.
That's awesome. That's fantastic. What do you think? What do you think is the reason anybody wouldn't hire you guys? Do they not believe you're going to produce a result? Do they have they been burned in the past? What do you think that is?
I'd say it's a couple things. I'd say number one, it's that we don't just offer a one size fits all solution. It's very custom to each person. And it's very different depending on the problems that they need in their business. So I think it's hard to really describe 7 different solutions to the public and be fully aware of every solution at the same time without connecting one-on-one and understanding. I think that's it. And I also think maybe they've worked with someone before and it hasn't worked. Or like I said, they're just an acquisitionpreneur, total type A. They don't want to relinquish any sort of control to anybody.
Got it. Men or women? Who's a better salesperson?
They're both good. We've had more success with men, but my wife is actually a really good salesperson and she's a closer. So I think both can
Your
do
wife's
very
Filipino,
well.
right?
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
It's game over. It's game over.
It's game over. My wife's half Filipina and my kids are a quarter Filipina, and they're some of the best closers I've ever experienced.
Amazing.
Yeah, I think, and I want to address that. I think that women don't realize they're actually across the board better closers because women are not threatened by women and men are not threatened by women. And if the first step of the process is to gain rapport and trust, then right off the bat, they've already got a leg up on that, so to speak.
Huge.
And then the second thing is that, again, I love my sons. My daughter, it's so much easier for her to get her way with me just by virtue of the fact that she's my daughter. And my sons, they're extremely influential, but it's just one of those things that again, I believe women don't know the power they have, and I pray they never understand it. I pray they never ever get the reality of it all. That men, we're here to serve women. That's what we're here for. And at least that's in my book what we're here for. Probably a bunch of self-righteous women are hating on me right now. I don't care. You do your deal, I'll do my deal, and we'll see who's happiest when the day's over. When somebody is really good at rapport, they're a people person. Sometimes they think that they'll be a good salesperson. My experience has been that's not the case. My experience has been sometimes a person is so good with people, it actually makes them a bad salesperson because they get in their head and they say things like, oh, I didn't want to sell anything to somebody that couldn't afford it, or I didn't think they really wanted it. And they get all this conversation going on in their head. And again, I believe not believing somebody can afford what I'm selling is an insult. And even if they appear to be broke, I'll never treat them like they're broke because some of my wealthiest friends intentionally dress like they don't have any money so that nobody thinks they have money and sells them. What are your thoughts on that?
My thoughts are, if you have a product or a service that makes a difference for someone and it really actually helps them, like, you should feel the responsibility and moral obligation to help them. And I think it's a mindset shift that someone needs to have when they start selling. I think it's because sale, right? Close. It's like, that's almost like a dirty word to some people, but it's not, because if you just replace the word sale with help, if you think about it, what it is, we just talked about this. You get a problem and you help them with it, right? People just look at it the wrong way. Framing, it's all framing. It's how you look at things. How you look at things shapes how you act, right? So if you're looking at it in that other way where you're like, oh, I'm trying to close them or sell them, of course you're going to feel like that. But if you're looking at it in the perspective of, I can literally help this person from point A to point B with this, and if I don't, they're going to go somewhere else and they're probably going to get burned. That's the kind of mindset you have to have. Because if you believe in your stuff so much and it's 5-10 times better than anything else out there, literally it's a disservice to them if you don't sign them up. And if you don't feel that way, again, sell something different. Correct.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's the same question I ask people. If your kid was on drugs and you wanted to protect your child, what would you do? And if the answer isn't anything I could, everything I can, including locking them in their room if that's what it takes. If that's not the answer, then the answer is you don't love your kid.
Yeah.
And I agree that, obviously that's what we teach, is that you have a moral and ethical obligation to sell something you believe in, and you have a moral and ethical obligation to stop selling something if you don't believe in it, even if it changed midstream. Often I get accused of being hardcore as a salesperson, which I am, and I make no apologies for that. Again, it comes back to that idea: I won't sell things I don't believe in, and I will only keep selling things that I keep believing in. I was with somebody yesterday, one of our inner circle people, and they took me to lunch, and they were talking about an opportunity that looks to be quite valid. Except the question I kept coming back to is, please just stay focused on the product. I don't care about how much money I could make. I don't care, about, the impact that this will have on the world. That's not what I care about. What I care about is if I ask somebody to trade me money for this thing that I possess, concept, service, product, idea, whatever it is. If I ask them to give me money, I want to make sure that I'm giving them something that's more valuable to them than the thing they're giving to me. And if that is possible with the product, then the product, I can sell the product. Otherwise, I don't want to sell the product. Don't tell me about anything else. Don't tell me about leadership in the company. Don't tell me about the global opportunity. Just tell me what the product is. And I think that, so many times, and I know that you guys encounter this with so many online offers, um, certainly not anybody you guys are representing, but certainly on the internet, there's so much crap. There's so much stuff that people sell that's just, it won't stand the test of time. They're fly by night, intellectual property offers, digital offers that don't do what they say they can do. That's software that doesn't work. It's services that they don't fulfill properly on. And we've been in the same exact business for 40 years. No deviation, no switch up, no change. And it's common knowledge, it's public knowledge. I got attacked by the government at one point, and they threatened to throw me in prison for 27 years. And we could have taken a minor slap on the wrist and a $500 fine, and the whole thing would have gone away. Principally, I couldn't do it. I said, no, I'm not taking a slap on the wrist for something I didn't do, because bullies beat up bullies. So I like to tell people, we're government tested. They attacked me, we prevailed. Do you see a lot of products in the marketplace that you look at it and you go, they shouldn't be selling that? That's not what it appears to be. And do you get approached by people that want to help you sell those? And do you tell them the truth, or do you just find another reason not to work with those companies?
Absolutely. I think that's in every industry. I think there's good and bad in every industry. And I would say we would just tell them straight up. I'll just let someone know, I just don't see the value in this. I don't think this is worth what you're selling it for. I don't think it makes sense. And also, you can tell I have a pretty good, nose for this at this point, where I could tell if someone's BS or not, and sometimes you never know until you know, right? Like, you never truly know. It's like you never know someone until you live with them. You never know someone until you see the inner workings of their business and how everything works. Some people are great, but what I would say is you have to be on the lookout and just be aware of the signs of what that looks like, and, do due diligence. Don't just rush into something up front. Right.
I want to make a segue now with that note to your clients, not your customers, not the people you sell to, the people you sell for. How many clients currently do you have?
My personal accounts, I have 5 personal accounts, and I'm also involved in 4 other ones.
And on your personal accounts, you mentioned that some of them are fulfillment by Amazon.
Yeah, some of them are.
Awesome. One of the seminar companies I worked with in the past was a fulfillment by Amazon type company, doing about 150 million a year, because we're in a time where people are looking at what resources do they have. So if they can't get jobs, they're saying, okay, if I can't leave the house and get some opportunity, what opportunity do I have here? In the clients that you sell for and the people that you work with, how does that structure work? Let's imagine I come to you and I say, hey, Jack, we've got this program that teaches people how to crush it from the stage or from a webinar screen. We've been in business X numbers of years. We're doing this many millions already. I'd like to work with you. If you're interested in working with us, what would that look like? So what does it look like to the client?
To the client in terms of like
Percentages,
percentages?
process.
Okay.
You said, and it sounded to me like you have varying degrees of involvement with your clients. Some clients you just sell for, some you put together the whole marketing campaign to make sure you guys have plenty of leads to call on. What does that look like?
Okay. So that would range anywhere. Again, I'm going to give a broad range because it's a broad range of services, but that would range anywhere as low as 20% up to 80%, depending on what we're doing. Like if we're funding ad spend, we're doing everything marketing, sales, just bringing you paid clients, and it's just a done for you offer, that could be up high as 80%. If we're just doing sales for someone, that's it, as low as 20%. It actually could even go lower. Imagine you're doing fractional sales management for a company and maybe you're making, 5-10% just doing that. That's it. Their team, everything else. So it really just depends on, again, they come in, diagnose the problem that they have, provide them a couple options. They're either game or they're not. If they're game, we onboard them, get all the info that we need, and then we start moving. Again, if it's, we need to build a sales team, we build a sales team. We pull from our pool. We have, a top talent pool. We just pull from that right away, or we bring over some guys that we're already working with, and we just get things running. Usually it's about if we're doing the whole marketing thing, probably 4-week setup for someone.
So 1 to 4 weeks for setup for people.
Yeah.
Upfront cost for the client? Any upfront cost?
Depends how much work I'd have to do up front. If I have to do a lot of work and come out of pocket a lot and they can just walk away because I'm not locking them into an agreement, I'm probably going to charge them up front. So I don't just come out of pocket and then get burned. But if I already have all the assets I need, if I'm ready to go, yeah, I'm not going to charge someone up front. Again, it would just totally depend. But so it's anywhere from 0 to like 20K up front, depending on them.
And I forgot to ask, only because other agencies do charge their salespeople to come in. You guys don't charge your salespeople, do you?
No, our thing is we just want to work with top performers. They don't want to pay up front.
And how would a top performer find you to say, hey, I want to work with you?
They would just find me on Instagram, Jack Duval official. They would shoot me a message, or they would come directly in through our hiring system, right? They would go to phone-sales.com, click careers. They would apply to be a closer or a setter. Then they get screened by our hiring manager, who Mr. Jeff. Mr. Jeff
Celentano, a phenomenal human being.
He's a G for sure. So yeah, they would come in, get screened, and we would all take a look at their interview. And if they look like they've got it, we bring them in.
So, and again, I realize I'm working backwards here.
That's okay.
They go to phone-sales.com. They click on the link that says, opportunities, careers, and on your platform, they do a video. They give their experience. I really love what you guys do in that portion of the process. And then you see somebody go, God, they're great. Is the next step of the process to immediately place them? Or once you've said, we'd like to place you, but to place you, you've got to also have the skill set that we need you to have. Do you just put them into the fire and say, all right, get going on this and let's tweak, your presentation as we go? Or do you sit down with them and role play and do all that kind of stuff up front?
2 things. Externally, because business owners, as you know, we market that to business owners so they can hire out of our talent pool. Their onboarding process is their onboarding process. That's them. For us, we're not throwing someone on the calendar and we're not giving them 8 calls a day unless they can do it. I need to see that they can do it. So they do get a lot of upfront call reviews, a lot of upfront one-on-one coaching, especially in the beginning. And then they have about a 2-week period where they either make it or they don't make it. And they make it, then it kind of, the one-on-ones, the coaching, it slows down a little bit so they can go focus on being productive, right? It still happens, but they can go focus on what they need to do. They've earned that at this point. So we do bring someone on and give them a slower onboarding before they go out and just rip 8 calls a day.
Do you find that when you're putting people into opportunities, you put them onto an account, do you find that people that do well on one account will end up doing as well on another account? Or do you find that certain salespeople just really do well in fulfillment by Amazon offers or real estate offers or, health offers? Do you find that salespeople are better at certain things than others?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the more you know, the more you can feel like an authority, and that helps you with that doctor-patient type of relationship, right? But I think there's also, it loops back to what we were talking about earlier. It's the mindset. For me, for example, when I came on, I didn't know anything about, I didn't know anything about it. And I started selling like 500,000 a month, 600,000 a month. I didn't even know the product knowledge. Like I know how to get a problem and how to figure out where someone wants to go and then help them get there without triggering resistance and make them decide to do it on their own, not force them. So that's, it just depends. Where is their mindset at? Do they believe that they can sell anything like that? Or is it just, oh, I need to know everything. They're an overthinker, a green type of personality. It just depends on who they are and how their mind is. But that's part of the coaching that you give someone, right? That's the personal development that I was talking about.
You just said two key things. Anybody listening should have paid attention because they were key in the process. You said, I want to communicate to people in such a way as to not create resistance. That was key. And then the second thing you said in the same breath that I just want to make sure everybody caught is you said, I want them to decide they want what I'm selling and have them believe it was their idea. I
That's
needed
key.
them to come to that conclusion. And I think that's everything right there. That's exactly what most salespeople don't pay attention to. It's not your job to get them to say yes. Your job is to get them to believe they decided to say yes. One will feel like coercion. One will feel like a free and open choice, which, with a good salesperson, of course, is anything except. But, the good salesperson has already pre-qualified their person and realized that, yes, this is something very good for the prospect that I'm presenting to. Back to the client side of things. How long have you been with, you said you have about 5 main accounts. How long have you been with those accounts?
Depending on the account, anywhere from almost a year with one of them, and the newest one I have launching right now.
Awesome.
So from brand new, working with them as of a couple weeks ago, to a year.
And the clients that you work with, what percentage are brand new to the marketplace in general? Got a brand new offer, hey, let's do this, versus people that might have been in the business for years before you and they connected?
I would say about a 50-50, but the people who do new offers are people who've already done offers. So one thing that we won a consulting call with Alex Hormozy for being his #1 affiliate for his book launch, right? And one of the things that he spoke to us about that was really, really important was, you want to work with people who have the brand. We were asking him specific questions and he's like, guys, zoom out. He's like, my no-show rate at acquisition.com is like 95%. Or my show rate is 95%. And here's why: my brand, right? And so then it's like, every person that you work with, we just want to work with the people who have brands. So even if they're bringing a new marketplace offering, I'm okay with that because I know that they have to stake their brand on it. And they're also, the influence is so much easier because people see that, right? There's associations with other people. There's authority branding, celebrity branding, and that really, really helps get deals done. And it's their idea. You don't have to, twist their arm and get them to close, right? So yeah, 50-50 though.
On the done for you at 80% commission out, it sounds to me like that's basically a licensing agreement that you're saying,
Yeah.
look, we'll turnkey it for you. Don't do anything. We'll deliver it digitally. Use your face, use your brand, use your expertise, everything you were just talking about. We'll take the lion's share of the money, but we just want to be able to sell your brand. Is that kind of what that is?
Yeah, but I wouldn't say it's a licensing agreement. I would say it's more like, we will give you everything that you need to succeed, and we will run all of the professional services for you and fund the ad spend. Like, for example, I'm not in charge of fulfilling. Like, we don't do any fulfillment. But if I plug you with a fulfillment guy, okay, great. Now you have a fulfillment guy, or you have a product or something. But I'm not really involved at all into the fulfillment of everything. Because I want to focus on sales. I want to focus on acquisition. I don't want to focus on the product. I want them to focus on that and them to spearhead that. So they're focusing on the product. They're focusing on working with the resources that they're provided, and we're focusing just on acquiring the customers.
Where are the leads coming from for your clients? 100% from ad spend? Are they all organic? Where are the leads coming from?
Depends on the client. Most of what we run though is ad spend. So we do a lot of cold traffic and paid ads.
And what kind of cold traffic, what kind of paid ads are working right now? YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok?
We do a lot of Meta. I've seen TikTok work really, really well in the past. We've had one that crushed with TikTok. We just found an awesome niche in there, but we've had a lot of success with Meta, so Facebook and Instagram.
And tell me, obviously TikTok's an extremely different kind of platform. What kind of offers tend to work on TikTok versus Meta?
I would say look at the audience, right? It's who are you trying to attract? So I noticed that when we ran a lot of TikTok ads, we were attracting a little bit of a younger crowd. When we were running Facebook ads, we attract, a little bit of a 40 to 60-year-old crowd. So it depends. If you're selling how to get into real estate wholesaling, it's probably going to be a younger person, right? TikTok's a great place. If you're selling, make money with this, that's probably going to be more of a 40 to 60-year-old person. So I think it's just realizing your demographic, right? You can still target people that are young on Facebook and whatnot, but just realizing like who's going to see your stuff.
What kind of events, what kind of products sell best, do you think? Digital products or live training, or a combination of the two?
I would say a combo. Yeah, when I think about it, I would say a combination. I notice professional services sell really well.
Such as
the Amazon automation, right? Because really they're not actually, it's not like someone's buying a business, right? They're getting a service where the person will run and manage and help them start up their store, but it's completely theirs. So professional services like that, or marketing or things like that. It's all about, I would say, what sells best. It's just about having the irresistible offer and understanding who you're talking to and having that in the messaging of your marketing, right? I think that's the biggest thing.
And then finally, before we wrap up for the day, where is the industry going? I mean, everything has transformed. This whole concept of setting up a meeting, going into the opportunity call, closing via phone sales, everything changes. And obviously this type of model in the last couple of years has been working well. Where do you think the industry is going? Is this something that can perpetuate? I've asked previous people here, and I'm guessing your model is probably similar. Somebody sees an ad, they book an appointment, a setter calls up to make sure that they're actually qualified, so we're not wasting a closer's time. They confirm the appointment, make sure that they've excited their imagination, pre-framed them, get them on the sales call. With AI being as prevalent as it is, and so many places advertising AI services specifically for setters, let alone closers, but specifically for setters, do you think AI is going to come in and take over the whole process? What do you think is going to happen?
That's a great question. Before you even said the word AI, I was already going to respond with AI. So I love that you took it there. I would say it's going to be a mix. I think that AI can do a lot. I literally posted about AI. I don't know if you saw my story, but I literally posted about AI last night. I was having a full-on conversation with a GPT that was trained as Alex Hormozy, and I was doing a coaching session with my voice and listening to him like while I was running. So I had a one-on-one with Alex Hormozy, right, in my ears while I was running, talking about business last night. So I think AI is super powerful. I think it's awesome. I think you can do a lot with it. I would say there are some things though that require a personal human touch. And I think that that's not going to be able to be replaced because here's why I think that. I don't know. This is just my opinion. I'm not saying I'm right. Anyone's wrong. This is just what I think. It's looping back to that resistance thing that we spoke about. If I know you're a robot, I don't know. I just feel a little bit of it's like I want to feel that human to human. Yes, exactly. That's what I was going to say. The human to human connection. I want to feel that, especially if it's $10, whatever. I don't care if you're a robot, take it. But if I'm, shelling out 100,000, I probably want to feel that one-to-one at least a bit to make me feel that trust, and help me decide. Otherwise, because think about it, anyone can make a bot, anyone can make an AI. What's to say this AI is good or bad? You don't know. But like I said, sniffing someone out and like feeling them and feeling their energy, I think that's something that can only be done on a human to human level. So I think the higher you go in what you're selling, the more of a larger service or product it is, I think it will require that.
And are you guys using AI yourself right now?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
And are you using it for setters? Is that what you're doing, or?
No, we're not using AI for setters right now. We're experimenting with it though. We've tried it on a couple different accounts. We're still figuring stuff out. One thing that we're doing that's pretty cool is we have a custom GPT that we trained with sales management and sales frameworks, and we can upload all of the calls into it, and it gives people call reviews like that, which is pretty sweet. So they can get live call reviews without someone like myself having to take an hour to review the call. Very cool. That's just one.
Are you familiar with a guy named Mark Helton?
No, I'm not.
So you should check him out. He's got a company called Hot Prospector. He's out of Vegas. Good guy, really good guy actually. And his he was ahead of his time in creating AI based software that also helps to train salespeople. Really good
Very
stuff.
cool.
So definitely check out Hot Prospector. Of your clients, what kind of volume? You don't need to specify this one's doing this or that. What kind of volume are your clients doing?
Anywhere from the lowest account, like I said, just starting up. So this person, it's a brand new offer with a proven brand partner. They're doing 0, but soon to be, hundreds of thousands and hopefully 7 figures. And the highest one that we've ever taken is 3 million a month.
Got it. And is that a current client or?
No, we don't work with them anymore. They just had too many clients. They needed to focus on fulfillment. So we stopped generating clients for them.
Well,
it's like you said
what
earlier.
A good challenge to have. So congratulations on that.
Thanks. It was a good challenge.
And, on those clients that are doing that, do any of them do live events? Because obviously that's my wheelhouse and that's my understanding.
None of them do live events, actually. Everyone's kind of
the good question
digital.
is why?
Unknown. The unknown. They haven't. It's like what we talked about earlier with commission only. I think they either haven't seen it or they haven't tasted it, and then it becomes real, right?
Well, maybe you and I should team up and help them taste it.
Maybe we should. Maybe we should help them taste it.
Yeah, I would love that. Hey, as we get ready to wrap up, man, you're awesome, and I always enjoy talking to you. I appreciate you taking time to be on the show. First and foremost, how do people get a hold of you? Phonesales.com, or what is your direct? How do we get a hold of you directly?
Yeah, so if you want to get a hold of me directly, you go to Instagram and you go to Jack Duval Official. So go to that username and you shoot me a DM or you talk to me through there. And if you want to just come in, you want to be a closer, and maybe you want to just check out what we have on our website, just go to phonesales.com and our offerings are on there. But if you feel like you see something or you feel like you have a problem that's not on there and you still kind of want to work with us, we can still come up with custom solutions. So don't be shy to book a call and talk to us. Again, if we can't help you, we'll send you somewhere that can. Hopefully we know.
I love it. And as we wrap up, and any last things that there's Jack's Instagram handle right on the screen right now, Jack Duval Official. Before we wrap up, any last things you want to share with anybody that might want to be a salesperson or anybody that might want to hire a sales team?
Yeah, absolutely. I would say 2 things. Number one, if you're a top performing salesperson who wants to work with people that have that competitive environment, that want to crush, that are just hungry, personal development committed, like-minded people, and you want to make a difference for the people you're selling, and you want to make a difference in your own bank account, then come work with us, come find us. We want those types of people, but I want you to be a top performer. Second thing, if you're a business owner, a high-ticket business owner with a high-ticket service, we specialize in your services. And if whatever you have, if you have a problem with sales or even scaling, I want to help take your offer to millions a month. So come book a call with us and let's chat about how we can get you there. Worst case, you walk away with some knowledge.
That's awesome. Hey, Jack, thanks again for being on the show. I look forward to connecting with you. Do you get to Vegas or Southern California?
I'm going to Vegas actually pretty soon, I think in a couple months. And
Well,
I'm going to
you
San
let
Diego.
me know when you're there. You have an open invitation to visit us at Prosperity Palace.
Awesome. Appreciate you, Marshall.
You too, brother. Have a good day. Yeah, we have the greatest guests on the show. Very grateful that the people that drop in and hang out. You are totally loved. We are about to enter into the second portion of Marshall Sylver Live. If you don't know what the second part is, it's about you, where you are going to go to studiomoney.info/live guest and let us know that you want to be a part of the show. Get on the air, ask me a question about sex, money, power, you name it, and I'm going to answer it for you. We're also going to take this to the vault. So if you have not yet registered for the vault, please be sure that you do by going to studiomoney.info/the vault. That will give you direct access to the show without having to go through any other social media platform. Plus, you get on the mailing list to receive the goodies and all the other good stuff we got going on. We have coming up very soon. We're getting close. We're making the final arrangements. We have coming up the next multi-millionaire challenge. And what is that? I'm going to take 12 people. We were about to do this before the scamdemic and all the lockdown. I'm going to take 12 people at no cost to those 12 people. I'm going to take 12 people that are a wide swath of individuals, everything from somebody who just finished college and has $250,000 in student loans and no idea how to pay it, to people that just got their first Social Security check and everything in between. And I'm going to take 12 people, train them over 120 days. I'm going to make at least one of them a millionaire, if not all 12. And whoever makes the most money over $1 million is going to get $1 million prize. And if I'm not able to, knock on wood, God forbid, if I'm not able to make at least one of those people a millionaire in 120 days, 4 months, then I'm going to give $2 million of my personal money to charity. We're about to launch it. So stay tuned. Tell your friends. Become a member of the Vault, because our Vault members are going to be the first people to be able to access that. We're about to go into the Vault. Make sure you get in there to ask me a question, because if you're the most fascinating call of the day, you could win 10 ounces of pure Marshall Sylver silver. And at the very least, get your questions answered. At the very most, you too could win $8,000 when you say the secret word of the day. So we're going to show you a couple quick videos. Jump into the vault. We'll see you on the other side.
Turning point. A total change in direction for the better.
Who here is ready for a turning point? You absolutely have to have one. Put them high.
The 2-day Turning Point seminar is different than any other program in that it does more than just teach you the skills for your relationships, wealth, and power. It also programs you on a subconscious level to put those skills into immediate use.
This weekend is about empowerment. This weekend is about you understanding how to take charge of your own life.
You will learn total control of your thoughts and emotions. How to use PND, or psychoneural duplication, to take on the thoughts and actions of others to produce similar results. Whether it's losing weight, changing habits, being a millionaire.
When you think what a millionaire thinks and you do what a millionaire does, you'll produce similar results.
You will learn to program these powerful tools at a subconscious level for immediate and lasting results.
Your conscious mind is what's called your critical factor. It's the mind you're using right now to determine whether the information I'm giving to you will work for you or not. Your subconscious mind, on the other hand, is merely a computer. It's non-critical. It doesn't even have the ability to make judgment. So all trance, hypnosis, reprogramming is setting aside the critical factor of your conscious mind and non-critically accepting suggestions.
And empowering.
To make a fear vanish, you must experience it fully.
As it helps you create your life exactly the way you want it. Bring your family closer. Find the love of your life. Create strategies for wealth. Learn irresistible influence, and so much more. Because of the intimate nature of this course, seats are very limited. Register now before your life passes you by, and there are no more turning points for you. Tens of thousands of people have learned this information and are using it daily.
You don't get angry if you get fired from your job and you know that within 2 years you will be a multi-millionaire.
It's your time.
There's a way for you to win this game that is different than how you're doing it. and it works.
It's your life.
When you learn how to do that, you become more powerful, and power is for use.
It's your turning point.
Isn't it time for your first million? Wouldn't it be wonderful to be able to do what you love and learn how to monetize that on a 7-figure level? Do you want to know exactly what you need to do and what not to do to have your biggest year ever? If not now, when? First Million. A 2-day subconscious learning experience that both teaches and programs you with the personality traits and habits of multimillionaires. At First Million, you'll learn how to take almost any wealth vehicle to a 7-figure level or better. You'll learn how to stop using vehicles that don't work, are too difficult, or simply unsuited for you. Making money is supposed to be fun. Stop living your life, getting ready to live your life, and start living a life of adventure. First Million was crafted to not just change what you do, it's also going to change who you are. Instead of trying to become a millionaire, you'll learn that you're already a millionaire, even if the money has not yet been deposited in your bank account. Beyond mindsets, you'll learn the actual personality traits of multimillionaires, so you'll naturally do what millionaires do to produce a similar result. One of the key personality traits of a millionaire is charisma. Imagine being able to walk into a room and without speaking a word, have the entire room drawn to you. Imagine others hanging on your every word, wanting to be near you, to be in business with you, and hungry to buy whatever you're selling. First Million will teach you how to use the charisma that politicians, entertainers, CEOs, and celebrities use to move nations and make millions. You'll also learn how to get more done in less time. You'll learn priority management and what the highest and best use of your time is. You'll learn laser-like focus upon IGAs, or income-generating activities, and you'll learn to let go of anything below your pay grade. What if you had more customers than you ever imagined? What if they came right to you and fought to buy from you? At First Million, you'll learn attraction marketing and strategies to get others to pay you for your marketing and advertising before they even purchase your offer. When you attend your First Million, you'll begin to see an overwhelming amount of amazing opportunities all around you. You'll look through the matrix and easily identify target-rich environments. You'll learn dovetailing and stacking strategies to acquire more customers and do more business with the customers you already have. Unless something is sold, no money is made. Whether you're a sales pro, a novice, or even scared to death of selling something, your First Million is going to have you fall in love with influence and enjoy it as the game that it is. When you believe in what you're selling, you're obligated to sell it. You'll learn exact language patterns of influence and persuasion. You'll learn how to get others to ask you for what you're selling and have them believe it was their idea. You'll become dynamically able to use arcing statements, direct links, embedded commands, and so much more. An entire tool belt of selling gambits will be yours after you get to your First Million. As a First Million alumni, you will be clear on what you need to do to GTFM, or get the freaking money. You deserve great wealth, and your First Million will help to raise your self-esteem around the topic of money. The amount of money you make will always be determined by your own self-image. You'll learn what billion-dollar corporations already know about outsourcing, how to get anything below your pay grade done for pennies on the dollar. Your First Million will give you the groundwork to understand presentation skills and the highest paid profession on the planet, public speaking. When you graduate from your First Million, you'll be able to create presentations that inspire with confidence and power. If all that weren't enough, there's so much more. Making your First Million is almost certainly going to require that you manage at least a small team. You'll walk out of the course with the knowledge of how to lead teams and synergistically get more done in less time. Technology has made our lives so much easier as we've learned how to harness it. The First Million course will teach you what is up to date and available in technology so that you can use that cutting edge technology to get more done and have more fun. You'll also learn how to harness the power of the internet for massive passive profits. Every time you attend Your First Million, you'll learn new technology and internet marketing strategies, as these two portions of the class change every time you attend. It's like getting a brand new seminar each time you come. If you're a representative, you may attend Your First Million as often as you like, totally free, with your enrollment in the First Million course. If you're not yet a rep, or if you have not yet invested in Your First Million, enroll now. Everything begins in 5, and you know what you want to say. Go ahead, say it now. Say it out loud. I'm ready for my first million.
Welcome home and welcome back. I'm Marshall Sylver on Marshall Sylver Live. We do this every day, not just once in a while, not once a week. We do this live broadcast every single day. And every single day that we have live callers, I also ask you to vote on who the most interesting call of that day was. And they receive 10 ounces of pure silver direct from the vault. Yesterday was no exception. We had a number of callers on, and you voted. And you said that Anna Walker was the most fascinating call of the day. So congratulations to Anna Walker. Anna Walker, you are the winner of 10 ounces of pure Marshall silver. And if you haven't been noticing, both the silver and gold spot prices are going through the roof right now. I think that's a good indication of what people think about the economy and what people think about our currency and currencies in general. So, yeah, gold and silver. The reason I give away silver rather than just give away its equivalent in cash is if I give it to you and it goes up, which it's going to, then the prize I gave you was greater. And not only that, it's something that you're going to keep until you really need it. So, Anna Walker, congratulations. You're the winner of the silver today. I see that the green room is a little light. So, if there was a day for you to win silver, it would be today. Speaking of somebody who has a great question and potentially wants to win the silver or even the cash, we welcome Darren to the stage. Welcome, Darren Scrub. You are live on the air on Marshall Sylver Live. Welcome home.
Hi, how you doing? Hi, how you doing? You hear me, right?
I'm always awesome, brother. Where are you calling in from?
From Toronto,
Where are you?
Canada. Toronto.
Lovely. We love
I'm in
our
the
friends
library.
in Toronto.
Yeah.
What do you
Actually,
do?
right now I'm basically studying. I'm studying a course basically on finding my. I'm trying to find my purpose. You know, my sole purpose career. That's what I'm trying to find right now. You know, I'm doing a course.
And
right,
what does
right
that
now
mean to you?
find that. Yeah, it means everything.
You're trying to
you know,
find your
because
purpose. What does that mean?
It means, you know, helping people. You know, basically helping people in what I'm made to do. You know, and that's so important to me. You know, I want to be able to discover that. You know, and do the best I can for people in society in general. You know.
What have you done?
Pardon?
What have you done
Pardon?
to earn money?
To earn?
Yes.
What have I
What have
done?
you done to earn money?
Oh, to earn money, well, I basically just do regular work, you know, working basically, just like working in a hospital, you know, basically just that nursing and that kind of thing, you know. Yeah.
And so what's your question?
Yeah. Basically, I want to know how I can connect with my higher self.
I don't know what your higher self is. So maybe you can tell me what that is, and maybe I can tell you how to connect.
Like higher self, or basically, you know, well, we how did I? Do you know how I could open my third eye? My third eye.
I don't.
You know, I could do that. No,
I don't. But
okay,
I do know how to
okay,
help
but what I
find your
mean
purpose.
by You
I
know how to
don't know
do
how to
it?
open your third eye, and I don't know how to help you get in contact with your higher self or your inner child or any of the above. And the reason I don't know how to do those things is there's no way to do those things. What I do know is there is a reason to find your higher purpose. And that would
Yeah.
be the thing that you are best at, the thing that you will find the most joy with, and the thing that will bless not only your life, which is first and foremost important, but then other people's lives. Until your life is blessed, you cannot bless other people's lives. So, how you find it and how I found mine is you've got to be willing to sample the buffet. You've got to be willing to go out and do things that may or may not be what your life's purpose is. And the only way you're going to find out whether or not it was your life's purpose is to actually do them. And I think most people are unwilling to or even afraid to do things that may or may not be their highest purpose because they just don't know. You know, I went through 8 jobs and 8 apartments in 2 years, and during that time I was just searching for myself. And when I came upon what I do now, coaching,
Mhm.
reprogramming people, teaching people how to have better lives, being able to combine my entertainment career that I love so much, being on stage and making people laugh and making them wonder. When I was able to combine that with also helping people, I knew that I had found my purpose, not my higher self, because my higher self, again, that's subjective. My real reason for living, my reason for being here, the reason that that sperm meant that egg, it's different. And my purpose is to help you speak better inside of your mind. I hear people talk about their inner child or even their third eye, and well, all those concepts have have validation and have their place. Unfortunately, they'll mostly confuse the majority of the planet. So until we get to the place where we're eating
Mhm.
on a regular basis, all of our bills are paid, we have excessive amounts of cash and resource at hand. Until we have those, there's no point in asking about the opening up our pineal gland or our third eye or our our higher purpose or our inner child. There's no purpose. It's only confusing. The first thing you got to figure out is what was
Mhm.
Darren born to do? And when you figure out that by sampling the
Mhm.
buffet, then and only then will you find the joy that you're seeking because all of your needs will be met. You won't have to wonder where's my meal coming from today? How am I paying my rent or my mortgage? How am I going to put gas in my car? What brings you great joy is my question, Darren. What brings you
And
great
that's what I'm
joy?
trying to. I'm not able to get out. Right?
Sure you are. You know what brings you great
I
joy. Do you like
really can't
sushi?
figure out to tell you the truth.
Sure you can. Do you like sushi?
No, not really. No,
Then sushi doesn't bring you joy. That's one thing
no,
eliminated.
I don't like seafood.
Good. So
Yeah,
seafood, that's 2 things eliminated. Sushi and
no, it doesn't.
seafood altogether. Do you
Yeah,
like
that's
to
right. Yeah,
use your hands? Do you like to labor?
uh, probably not as much. No,
There you go. Just say no.
no,
Say no. This is
I,
your time. It's your life.
no,
You get to
no.
choose. You don't like
Yeah,
to labor. I
yeah,
don't like to labor.
yeah,
I like to do
yeah.
creative things. I like to use my mind. I like to sell a new way of thinking. I love to sell a new way of living to people. I don't much like labor, although sometimes I'll do labor purely for meditative purposes. That's sometimes what I'll
Mhm.
do. So the only way to
Okay,
find
okay,
your
okay.
purpose is to sample the buffet. The only way to figure out, what you're
Mhm.
here to do is to do things until you find the thing that brings you massive joy and also adds substantial value to other people. So with that said, I realize we've got a bit of a bad connect. I'm going to thank you for being on the show and see if we can get somebody that has a better connection on the show. I I like chess. I mentioned this in the last segment. I like chess. And the reason I like chess is you never know what's going to happen. Yet there are some very specific strategies that will make your game more effective, increase the likeliness of you winning. And one of the strategies is to never get angry at the game. There's no point in getting angry at the game. So if I'm in a circumstance I don't want to be in, if I find myself in a position of doing labor and I don't want to be doing labor, then number one, I'm not going to be disgruntled about doing labor. In fact, just the opposite. I'm going to do the best labor I can do so that either I get hired out of the position I don't want to be in or I get promoted or paid more because I'm doing more than I paid for in the first place, even with things I don't like. Early on in my career, I swore I would never work at a gas station. I'd never pump gas for a living. At 17 years old, I was living on my own, and I found that I needed to get a second job to pay the rent, and the only job available was pumping gas. And so I decided if I'm going to pump gas, I'm going to be the best damn gas pumper ever. And I went and pumped gas, and sure enough, I pumped gas so well that one day a guy that came into the gas station every week or so offered me a job in radio, said, hey, I don't have a paid gig for you, but I can give you a free internship. Take a bad gig until a good gig comes along. So I took the bad gig with no pay, and for 2 weeks gave my services away for free. One evening at 10 o'clock, I got a call, and the man said, if you can come into work at midnight, you got a paying gig. Took the paying gig, did my very best at a radio station that I wasn't even interested in at 17 years old. It was beautiful and relaxing music for people in my current demographic. And I took the job, did a phenomenal job, and got promoted to a better position. So my point in all this, number one, take a bad gig until a good gig comes along. Sample the buffet. Do whatever you need to do to eat chicken while you're hunting elephants. Next thing to do is when you figure out what you love, then the next question is, where's my target rich environment? Where are the people that would pay me to do this thing that I do? And then ultimately, when you have figured out what you love, when you figured out who will pay you to do what you love, that's your purpose, baby. Now, things will change. My purpose at one point was to be the #1 stage hypnotist in the world. I did that by anybody's standard. Highest paid, best gigs, greatest visibility, most televised. And then after a while, I realized that it just wasn't my cup of tea anymore. I didn't want to battle with minimum wage executives inside of a corporate structure in Las Vegas. And I said, while I love performing, not interested in drawing people into a casino to lose their money at games that are rigged against them. There I said a whole lot. It didn't take away my desire to perform, but what it took away was my desire to headline on a stage in Vegas. That said, these days, I do exactly what I want to do for as long as I want to do it until I don't want to do it anymore, including this show. Every single day, we get great guests like Jack Duval was on earlier. Every single day, we open up the phone lines to your phone calls and get you into the studio to ask me phenomenal questions. As always, as long as we have callers in the studio, I take your calls. When we don't have callers in the studio, I say, hey, have a nice day. Nobody said the secret word of the day. The secret word was agitated. Agitated. Maybe tomorrow we'll have more calls and you'll get your shot at the secret word. In the meantime, I'm Marshall Sylver. You are totally loved. We'll see you on tomorrow's show. Hey there, moguls. It's me, Marshall Sylver, your personal millionaire maker. Getting very excited about my brand new show coming up 2 hours a day, 5 days a week. I'm going to broadcast live to you. I'm going to give you content, information, emotional, mental, physical, and even spiritual power. I'll also invite some of my cool multi-millionaire and billionaire friends onto the show to give you more direction, more advice for having it all. All the knowledge to get everything you want and so much more. All you got to do is log in to the show to get information coming to you live from the bunker right here at Studio Money. So stay tuned.